Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the 235-member
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Anwar Youssef Dunbar, and this is Big Discussion 76 Sports. First of all, please like the stream, please share it, and please subscribe, especially if you're watching on the playback. If you guys want to throw something in the tip jar, that's the name for it. That information is below the stream. I apologize for coming on late. I was supposed to do this at 11:30, but I got drawn into another discussion on another YouTube channel, not football related, and I just had to get into that discussion. And then once I wanted to start here, I started the music, but I realized I hadn't added myself to the stream. And then I realized I didn't have my microphone. And I was reminded of something that my father always says, who's a superstitious man. He always says, I don't want anyone doing anything for me on a Monday, which means that, he doesn't want his doctors or his mechanics or his dentists working on his valuable things on a Monday, because on Monday, people aren't all the way there. So I'm back in the DMV now. Got my football, got my Harbaugh bobblehead, and we're ready to go. So I don't have a lot for this one. I have two short articles I'm going to read, and then Buckeye Alex is going to come in and tell us what he thinks about this news, and that's about it. Just back in the DMV, trying to get reoriented here and trying to keep things, get things going. So the usual suspects are here. Before I jump into these two articles, I want to remind everyone that tonight is the national championship game between the Alabama Crimson Tide, coached by Saint Nick Saban, and the Ohio State Buckeyes. So so Buckeye fan is pretty juiced up for this one. Of course, we got to bring back this is one of my favorite gifts now. So I gotta show the Woody Hayes gif. There's Woody running out. Buckeye fan is feeling like this today. They're ready for tonight's game. They're ready to make something happen. So that's going on tonight. Of course, I can't show that one without showing the punch as well on Clemson fan, because Buckeye fan is pretty happy about knocking Clemson out of the playoff last week. I'll do this. Two more punches. I want to see two more punches from Woody. There's one, boom, and then there's two, boom. All right. So those are our Woody gifts. As you know, as a Michigan fan, this is one of my favorite pictures. This is the punch out picture. Michigan fan, yet again, we're out in the audience watching the big fight go down, maybe rooting for Ohio State, maybe rooting against Ohio State. But that's us again. And something else that's interesting is some of these fans, some Big Ten fans, some Ohio State fans, see this as a war on the South. They see this as the fact that they have to take down the SEC and the ACC teams. And this is for a lot of people, this is about more than just Ohio State winning the national championship. They want to take down Nick Saban. They want to take down Dabo Swinney. They want to take down all the teams below the Mason-Dixon line, because there's some feeling, warranted or not, that the Southern teams get some sort of preferential treatment in the college football world. So I just wanted to say that. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the playoff tonight. So for this, in terms of this, we've talked about this on this channel in terms of the future of Jimmy in the Michigan football program. A lot of us speculated that he would go and join his brother John back at the pro level. We know that he took a flight down to San Diego and he came back, and then there was not much said. And a lot of us felt like, okay, he's going to the NFL. But it turns out that Warde Manuel extended him the contract and Jimmy signed it. So I did the live stream. I think it was it was on Friday, and the consensus was, okay, he's probably going to go. And then we got word on Saturday that he re-signed. So some of us are scratching our heads like, wow, what does this mean? And some of the Ohio State fans are celebrating because, it looks like they're going to be a few more years or several more years of dominance. So, but I'm surprised at this. So I'm going to bring Buckeye Alex in a minute, but I'm going to read two articles first. They're short articles, so just bear with me. Okay. The first one is from CBS Sports. And it reads as follows. Okay. Michigan and coach Jim Harbaugh agreed to 4-year extension with a significant pay cut. Okay. Harbaugh had just 1 year left on his previous deal, and his future at Michigan was uncertain. Okay. There's Jimmy and Warde. I don't know what Jim's telling him there. He could be telling them anything. So that look on Warde's face could be him just listening. Jim Harbaugh's sixth season as Michigan's coach did not go as planned, to say the least. But the Wolverines are moving forward with his tenure anyway, with Harbaugh's previous deal set to cover just one more season. The coach and school agreed to a 4-year extension with revised financial terms effective January 11th, 2021. That's today. And by the way, a lot of fans since the end of the season, there were fans like Abdul Gaines, just with a little list there of other coaches who had gotten their heads chopped off. I'm thinking about the coach at Texas, but there was this. Well, they fired their coach. Why hasn't Michigan fired Harbaugh yet? While the statement did not specify those terms, Harbaugh will reportedly be taking a significant pay cut as part of the deal. 24/7 Sports reports that Harbaugh will make $20 million over 5 years, coming out to about $4 million annually. That's about half of what he made in 2020. However, he will still be able to earn up to $8 million with incentives. Harbaugh's buyout, while not yet specified, is also expected to be lower. I continue to believe that Jim is the right man to lead our program in pursuit of Big Ten and college football championships. Wow, that I don't know who wrote that statement by Warde, but I probably would have gone a little more conservative than that. I would have given Jim the vote of confidence, but I don't know if I would have said that. Said athletic director Warde Manuel, our program didn't achieve at a level that anyone expected this year, but I know those setbacks will drive the coaches, players, and staff moving forward. Jim is a tireless worker and competitor. Following the completion of the season, we talked for many hours on what it will take for Jim to lead and get us back on the right trajectory. My thanks to athletic director Warde Manuel for the trust he has shown in allowing me to continue to coach the University of Michigan football team, and to President Mark Schlissel and the Board of Regents for their ongoing support, said Harbaugh. My additional thanks to Doug Notke, I think in these instances the G is silent, our football staff, and those departments on campus who continue to support our mission. Over the past few weeks, Warde and I had discussions that have been honest, open, insightful, and constructive in moving our football program forward. Discussions that I look forward to continuing over the months and years ahead. We have a plan. A revered former Michigan quarterback, Harbaugh has a 49-22 record at the school that includes a 34-16 mark in Big Ten play. However, the Wolverines have not defeated rival Ohio State during his tenure and have yet to qualify for a Big Ten championship game or the college football playoff. With those demerits looming overhead during a woeful 2-4 season, Harbaugh's future at Michigan came into question. That's putting it mildly. Despite the program's continued inconsistency at quarterback, reports of friction between Harbaugh and the university administration and other indications that the 2020 season could be his last, Harbaugh continued to recruit well this year. The Wolverines have signed 20 players as part of a 2021 recruiting class ranked number 2 in the Big Ten by 24/7 Sports. That includes a 5-star quarterback prospect, J.J. McCarthy. The Harbaugh will stay in Ann Arbor. Wolverines defensive coordinator Don Brown was fired after the season. Harbaugh and Michigan athletic director Warde Manuel met December 17th, and Harbaugh's contract was among the topics discussed, according to the Detroit Free Press. The university then presented Harbaugh with a 5-year extension this week, according to Yahoo's Dan Wetzel. Okay, so that is the end of that one. And what's interesting to me, among other things, is he has to get a new defensive coordinator in there who's going to have a new scheme. And I think some of the vets like Kwity Paye are gone. So that side of the ball is going to need time to, grow to fruition as much as it possibly can. So that's going to be a rebuild on that side. But also, as Alex has pointed out, which he'll probably mention when he comes up, I think Joe Milton is still in the program. And how do you keep Joe Milton? How do you keep him in there after his insurrection? Of course, that might be the wrong word to use right now, but how do you keep Joe? This is complicated. Okay, so I'm going to read the second article, and then I'll throw the link in the chat so Alex can come up. And this article is from the Detroit Free Press. And this is, interestingly, a very optimistic article compared to much of what we've heard. When I read it, this is an optimistic piece, and it's probably going to make some of you guys throw stuff at your computer monitor or at your phone. But this reads, why Michigan football is smart for extending Jim Harbaugh's contract. This was written by Tyler J. Davis, and it was published on Friday. I believe it's Friday. Michigan football had to know there would be jokes and criticisms. The Wolverines had to know announcing an extension Friday for head coach Jim Harbaugh following a 2-4 season, one of the least competitive in program history, would invite skepticism from supporters and Fox celebration from rival fans. I've seen some of that on my channel here. After the last live stream, some Ohio State fans came in and said, yeah, we're popping champagne that you guys kept him. By the way, if you guys are here, please click the like. If you're new coming in, please click the like as well. If you're new, also please subscribe to the channel. Okay, but before Spartans or Buckeyes fans do a victory dance, they should remember why Michigan wanted to keep Harbaugh. His struggles in big games are well documented, but he consistently brings in touted recruiting classes, moves athletes to the NFL, and wins games against teams not named Ohio State. So he brings players in and sends them to the NFL. I got to show Abdul Gaines' favorite Michigan ever recruit before he departed to support the Ohio State football program, Rashawn Gary. That's Abdul Gaines' favorite Michigan recruit ever. So I just had to show this picture with that last comment. So Jim has sent players to the pros. Here are 4 thoughts that may have inspired athletic director Warde Manuel and Michigan's decision makers to retain their maligned head coach. Well, what did you expect? Yes, finishing with 2 Big Ten wins is unacceptable, even for lowly Illinois. But those fed up with Harbaugh have to remember a couple of things. This season was played during a pandemic, and most optimistic projections had Michigan 4th or 5th in the Big Ten. Here's Jimmy running out with his team. Yes, there was the hopeful hoopla that precedes most Wolverine teams, but there were important questions on defense and offense, starting with quarterback. Michigan fans are rightfully tired of not beating Ohio State. It wasn't going to happen this year anyway, and changing coaches would likely ensure it doesn't happen for several more seasons. Just imagine the effect a coaching change would have on, you hear that, Abdul Gaines? You hear that? This guy's arguing that keeping Jim is the smarter thing. Recruiting. Harbaugh is good at that. Class rankings don't win games, but they count in the never-ending self-serving cycle of college football recruiting. Harbaugh hasn't beaten Ohio State on the field. However, he has come close in recruiting. It's easy to take that success for granted, though fans shouldn't. There's no guarantee the next Michigan coach will be an alumnus with NFL playing and coaching experience. Recruiting isn't everything, but landing a couple of elite players each year, as Harbaugh has, can create/continue a pathway to the NFL. Under Harbaugh, Michigan has sent about 36 players to the NFL, though some of them were recruited by Brady Hoke. In just the 2017 and 2019 drafts, 21 Michigan players were taken. Several of them seem destined for lucrative second contracts. That success means something to 4- and 5-star youngsters chasing the same dream. It's no secret Michigan has struggled to find and develop quarterbacks. But at most positions on each side of the ball, you can find a Wolverine playing on Sunday. Even a small drop-off in recruiting could jeopardize what is the longest streak of having a player drafted in the country, and surely Michigan fans know there is worse. Much worse. All right, guys, we're at the end here. While 9 and 10 win seasons aren't the goal, they are pretty dang nice for a Power 5 team. You hear that, Abdul Gaines? Harbaugh has led Michigan to 9 wins or more in 4 of his 5 normal seasons. The program hasn't done that since Lloyd Carr was the coach back in George W. Bush's first presidential term. Before he left for the Ohio State fan base, Lloyd Carr was also one of Abdul Gaines' favorite coaches. No one wants to see a redux of Rich Rod or even Hoke. What other Michigan alumni, parenthesis Charles Woodson or Desmond Howard, our 2 Heisman Trophy winners, would conjure up the excitement and big name Harbaugh brings to the program? What's different isn't always better. Oh boy. Oh boy. Let's see what's happening here in the chat. Alex, I'm going to drop the link. Let's see, we're at 23 minutes. Yeah, we'll go for about an hour, and then I have to go do some running around, get ready for the week. So the link is right there. I'm going to read some of these comments. Let's see. Alex says ready. Let's see. Anybody there? The number one goal for a Power 5 football program is to win at any cost. That especially holds true for a program with the resources of the University of Michigan. Michigan doesn't want to pay that price. So the link is there. Let's see what else. Alex is here. U of M ain't about that life. Ric Flair said he's willing to bleed, sweat, and pay the price. U of M is not of that mindset. All right, hold on, guys. We got a Buckeye alert. A Buckeye alert. Let me drop this comment and then bring him in. And he's here. What's up, Alex?
What say you? How you doing?
Good, man. I'm passing the mic to you.
Okay. Where do I start? I mean, I had already predicted that this was going to happen. If you remember, this, I actually agree with part of the second article that was written. So this is my thought, and I kind of went into this when we jumped on last week.
Mm-hmm.
Warde Manuel has put himself in a position to where he can't lose. And I think this is going over the heads of a lot of people. Kind of like last night's Pittsburgh Steelers game, but I digress.
Mm-hmm.
He has put himself in a position where, although a lot of people like Mr. Gaines and other Michigan fans They are upset about the re-signing of Harbaugh.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of I saw this coming a long time ago. Uh, you know, there's never been a coach that's had a season like Harbaugh's had and jumped to the NFL. I mean, even Cliff Kingsbury won more than 2 games when he jumped. So I really did not see that coming. I didn't see that opportunity for him at all. I mean, it is something to say that he did get a second interview, um, which is being reported, but they just weren't able to come to. Um, they weren't able to talk terms in regards to contract. I believe they didn't get that far.
Okay.
So, which brings him back to Michigan, which I agree with part of the article, and the parts that I agree with is that with the timeline, and I said this the other day as well, it's going to be very hard for Michigan to pay his buyout, which is about $8 million,
Mm-hmm.
and then also have to bring in another coach and pay that coach's buyout as well. So with COVID and the timing, I think it all just kind of, if you just look at the actions that have been taken, it should make very good sense. The reason why I feel like Warde Manuel has gone on over everybody's head is that most people, I think, are reactionary.
Mm-hmm.
They don't see the long play. Let me tell you what the long play is. The long play is, as of right now, they're looking for Jim Harbaugh's replacement. They are not going to. I think they want to win. I think Harbaugh wants to win, and I think Michigan wants to win. I don't think it's a great fit. I think Harbaugh is a very good recruiter. I think he's terrible at developing talent. You've never seen. He's never had a track record of developing talent. He's had a track record of turning teams around, but not a track record of developing talent. So for those of you, who think that he's the quarterback whisperer, please do some research, because I've done it and it's not true. It's a great narrative, but it's not true. So I believe in a program long term. If you ever notice, he's always in and out in 4 or 5 years. This is the longest he's ever stayed. So I think from Warde Manuel's perspective, he looks at it and says, okay, Steve Sarkisian, who should have been, if they let go of Harbaugh, that should have been their number one guy. You don't want the stench of Tom Herman from Texas. You're not going to get Luke Fickell. And I don't think at this moment in time, Matt Campbell's ideal job is going to be Michigan, coming from Iowa State. So you have those things. And again, like I mentioned, you also have, from a money perspective, not that Michigan's tight on money, but they have their budget. They are very strict on their budget. We are in a pandemic, and they probably don't want to waste resources or financial capital to make a move that's not certainly going to work. Now, in regards to Warde Manuel, and I'm kind of going around so I can kind of paint the picture of what I think he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
He has put himself in a position to no matter what happens in the next I'd probably say the next 1 to 3 years, they're going to find the perfect candidate for Jim Harbaugh's replacement. We don't know what's going to happen coming out of the pandemic. So I think the contract that he offered him is I think it's more than fair for what he's done. I think it's more than fair. I also believe that not knowing what's going to happen coming out of the pandemic, how things are going to bounce back, when they're going to bounce back, we don't know any of those things as of yet. I think it's a very rational perspective from a for financially to lessen his pay, up his he has things that he can hit contract wise to get up to 8 million. Incentives, he has incentives where he can get up to 8 million. So in the long term, it looks like this: if Jim Harbaugh is the answer, we're going to find out in the next 2 to 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
If Harbaugh is not the answer, we're still looking for his replacement either way. So they're coming out in a position where they are now in control of Michigan's future from a football program perspective. They understand that if the perfect candidate comes along and he's interested, Jim Harbaugh's out of there, regardless if he has an 8-win season or not. He's gone. And on the flip side of all of this, if he does well, Warde Manuel still wins, because he can also play the card, hey, everybody in the country, you guys were saying that this guy is this, and this. We gave him a chance. We extended him, and look at what he's done. So either way, I think Warde Manuel comes out an absolute genius in this situation. I think Michigan football is in far better position than people think that it is. So This is not a short term. This is a long term, 5-year probably plan that Warde Manuel's putting up. And yeah, it's great that Jim's a great recruiter. I mean, he's one of the, he's a top 15 recruiter in the country, no doubt about it. And Michigan's a blue blood. A lot of kids that are legacy kids, some kids in general, like Michigan just might happen to be their favorite team, and that's just what their mind is set on, and that's what's happening. I do want to point out something that I found very interesting in the article about the draft prospects of Michigan. Let's speak on that. Does Michigan put players in the NFL? Yes. Yes, they do. Do you know when the last time Michigan put a football player in the NFL? In the first round. Do you know?
Was it Jake Butt?
I don't think Jake Butt was a first round pick. No.
Okay, then I don't know.
I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Abdul, please check this. I believe it was Cesar Ruiz.
Okay.
Is a center. He got drafted as a center for the New Orleans Saints. I had an argument with another gentleman last year, and he does a Michigan Ohio State stream as well. And we argued about how Michigan puts players in the NFL, yada, yada, yada. And I had to explain to him the difference. The difference is that although they might put players in the NFL, where are those players getting drafted? And to kind of sidetrack, majority of the players that get drafted rounds 4 through 7 have a 25% chance of getting to their second contract. And the argument was that Michigan has just as much talent as Ohio State. It's a very, very flawed argument. And I'm only bringing up Ohio State because that was what the topic was at the time. And I had to break it down to him where, that last year's draft, which would have been 2020 with Chase Young, Ohio State had 8 players drafted in the first 4 rounds. Michigan had 1. Ohio State had 3 players, I believe, drafted in rounds 5 through 7. Michigan had 8. There is a huge disparity of talent. Do they put players in the NFL? Yes. But majority of those players are not going to make it to their second contract from where they're getting drafted. And I'm just looking, not saying that it's not possible. I'm a numbers guy. I just look at the statistics. The statistics are completely against that argument. So yes, he's a great recruiter. I believe that if he was able to develop talent at the level of other programs, even in the Big Ten, we're having a completely different conversation. Can you imagine if Jim Harbaugh had a staff that developed talent like Wisconsin? Wisconsin, top 20 recruiting class, top 30 recruiting class every year. It comes and goes. But man, they get the most out of their players. They're not as talented as Michigan. They're not as talented as other teams in the Big Ten, even Penn State. And that program is in the Big Ten title game pretty much every year. And they're recruiting with a far less budget and from a rankings perspective, inferior recruits. And Wisconsin is still getting it done.
Okay. Hey, Alex, so Abdul Gaines said that it was Cesar Ruiz. He was the last number 1 pick for the Saints. Yeah. Denzel Merritt asked, do you like the defensive coordinator hire? I don't know if they signed anyone. Google is saying they're targeting Mike McDonald from the Ravens staff. So he's going down his brother's staff, and that's who they want.
Yeah, so I think this is what I think. I think in NFL circles and coaching circles in general, it's all about relationships and who you know. I believe this is definitely one of those situations.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that I don't know how much Jim, because I haven't done any research on the gentleman. I believe he's the linebackers coach. I think I read. I can't remember, but I know he's a coach on the Ravens staff, and I think he's a linebackers coach. I think he is. I'm sure Jim looked at his resume. I'm sure if you're a linebacker coach at that level in the NFL, you can be a coordinator in college. That's definitely understandable. That's plausible. 100%. I could easily see that. And I believe that, he probably got the okay from his brother saying, hey, this guy is really good. Unfortunately, we got a log jam. Do you mind giving him a shot? He knows what he's talking about. He knows football. And that happens a lot, not just with, it just happened to be Jim's brother. It happens all over the NFL and college basketball, college baseball. A lot of people that look out, a lot of coaches who look out for guys who understand that they might not be able to give them an opportunity, will reach out and say, hey, I have this guy. Unfortunately, he's ready to move into X spot or what have you. I'm giving you a recommendation. Would you look into this? And sometimes they do, and they say yes. Sometimes they do, and they say no. But, if he's coming from the NFL, a lot of guys coming from the NFL have proven to do well. As of late, not so much. I.e., Lovie Smith, Jim Harbaugh, those guys haven't done so well. So, we just have to wait and see. We don't know what type of scheme he runs. As of right now, I don't believe he's making I don't think he's doing any play calling, on the Ravens staff. So, and I think he's been like special teams and linebacker coach. And I think he's been a linebacker coach with them for a couple of years, like 4 or 5 years, I think it is, that I read. So I just briefly, just looked over his resume real quick before we jumped on. So I don't know too much about the gentleman, but he's coming from the NFL, and if he's a linebackers coach, those linebackers on the Ravens can play. So I would think he knows something about what he's talking about, and from a coaching perspective. And I mean, it's just more, like in the NFL, obviously, you're coaching the scheme. You're coaching linebackers within that scheme. When you get down to college, it is a 360-day grind. It's a completely different grind than anything else. So we don't know if he's built for that. We don't know if he's ready for that. We don't know how good of a recruiter he can be because for obviously he's going to have to recruit on a defensive players on Michigan staff. So we'll see. He might be a great defensive coordinator, but a terrible recruiter. We don't know. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens with that. So
hopefully he's able to shore up those fundamentals like tackling. I'm going to read a few comments here. If you're new coming in, please like the stream and also please subscribe. Abdul Gain says, for U of M to cut Harbaugh's pay and for him to accept it is a horrible look for the Wolverines.
That's the reactionary I'm talking about. You have to look at it from a long-term perspective.
That's why he's a super fan. Wolf58 says, I liked Warde Manuel a lot more as the Kingpin in season 1 of Daredevils. We have some
funny and some
smack talk going on. There's just some Ohio State smack talk coming up here as well. I saw one of the comments. It says, all this Harbaugh contract controversy makes the university look like a second-rate program. Abdul Gain says Vanderbilt, South Carolina, Illinois, Arizona, and Texas all fired their head coaches. U of M can't. That tells me all I need to know. I love it. Let's Toast Media says, go blue, salute everyone. Michigan. Harbaugh is in Ann Arbor because no one else wants him. Iowa State has a head coach in demand, but Michigan doesn't. What an embarrassment. I've often told Abdul Gaines that I'd love to see him be the general manager of an NFL team or the athletic director of a college football program.
He would fire somebody every week if he
every year. Yeah, there'd be a new head coach. Dre says Iowa State coach did not go anywhere. So
yeah. So and I want to comment on that in regards to some of the other hires. I want you guys to keep something in mind is that those other programs they're not Michigan. They don't mind, spending money and spending it on their football program. And second point I want to make, and this would be the final one, is that if you notice all those programs that fire their coaches outside of Illinois, they all had people before they fired their coaches to slot into those roles. They have things lined up, and that's what I'm trying to explain is that Warde Manuel is lining things up. Either A, Jim Harbaugh is a success, or B, his buyout's going to be so low. They're going to save so much money. It's not going to make a difference buying him out whenever they're ready to bring in another candidate that they feel is better suited for their program. And to be honest with you, I don't think Jim Harbaugh is a good fit at Michigan. I don't think he's a good fit at all.
Okay.
I think he is an NFL coach. I think he's great at turning things around. I don't think that he's very good at developing talent. Those positions are primarily for coaching staffs. I feel like he's done a terrible job with his coaching staff, and I just think he's an NFL coach at the end of the day. I think he belongs in the NFL. I think if he has the opportunity to go back, I think he'll do very well, like his brother and like the other coaches, the Pete Carrolls, the Sean Paytons, and things like that. I think he has probably another run, another 10 year. I think he has at least another 5-6 year run in the NFL. Hopefully he doesn't grind people down and get kicked out of the organization, but I think he's learned his lesson. I think this is a very humbling experience for him.
Okay. Abdul Gain says, pandemics are never an excuse to rein in one's hardcore desire to win at any cost. Wolf58 says, that second article is full of excuses and rationales for mediocrity. I thought it was kind of fluffy. The second article.
Well,
You don't.
like I said, I think it's when the ship is going the way that it's gone.
Mhm.
You can't be reactionary. You have to be very methodical, and it looks like Warde Manuel has a plan to get Michigan back on track. It's not going to be a quick turnaround. I'm just telling you now, it's not. It's not going to be a quick turnaround. It's going to take some time. They are looking for the right coach, and if Harbaugh turns out to be that, which I don't think he is, if he proves me wrong, it is what it is. But they are looking for the right guy, and they're not going to jump from coach to coach to coach like the Cleveland Browns do. They're not going to do that approach. Well, Cleveland Browns had 4 coaches in 2 years. That's crazy. They're not going to do that. They're going to be very patient, very methodical about their approach, and they will. And I actually think this is the right way to do it. I 100% believe that, because once you get your guy, and you got your guy, like once you have your coach, they're not looking for, they're not looking for a short-term fix. They're looking for a Lane Kiffin, the gentleman out in Oklahoma, his name's escaping me, but a Ryan Day, as much as I hate the coach in Georgia, Kirby Smart, they're looking for a staple coach. And unfortunately, Jim Harbaugh, I don't think it's going to work out there, but I think they're going for what I'm pretty sure Michigan wants to do. I'm 99% sure they're going about it the right way, 100%.
Okay. So let's see. I read that one. Abdul Gaines says Iowa State's coach decided to stay with the Cyclones. He's in a far greater demand and is held in much higher regard than Harbaugh. 9 wins, 10 wins don't win national championships. 10 wins should never be the goal with a school with as many athletic department resources as U of M. Dre says, well, guess what? Michigan is keeping him, so let's see how things turn around in 2021. LOL. Dre's an optimist. I like that.
Yeah.
All Hail Michigan says, one thing Michigan does have is a great brand and plenty of money. By the way, why are we not talking about basketball at all? Yeah, man, we're gonna just, this is kind of the big news. So Dre says, I'm glad that we took the financial keys from Jim. Let's Toast Media says the brand is not there like that anymore.
That's not true. That's not true.
So I'm wondering what they're going to do with the quarterback, because Joe's still in there, right? So
Joe is still there.
Does he get forgiven? I mean, for his mutiny?
I find that situation very interesting. Let's see over the next couple of weeks what happens. I haven't looked at their depth chart yet. But it is possible. I wouldn't go about it this way, but it is very possible that they're going to have an open competition between McCarthy, the kid from Vegas. His name's escaping me.
McNamara.
And Mr. Milton. And I believe it's going to end up being McNamara will be the starter. McCarthy will be the backup, and Joe will be the third, which will in turn probably lead him to transfer. The problem is unless you're going to, I don't know where you're going to go if you're Joe Milton. Meaning that once you're at a level of Michigan, you're at a Power 5 school, a nationally recognized, not ranked, but a nationally recognized Power 5 school. I don't really know where you go from there in regards to transferring and being able to play. And keep in mind, I don't know the end date of the transfer portal, but I know kids can transfer at no penalty this year. So that's something to keep an eye on as well. Maybe now that they're going to be rounding out the staff, they'll have their meetings and then they'll come in and say, okay, this is, Joe, this is what's going on. He has all the tools athletically besides knowing how to throw a football. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm shocked he's still there. I'm dumbfounded. Like, I'm just completely shocked that he's still there. I am shocked. And now that he's resigned, I'm curious to see what happens in regards to kids that don't want to play for Harbaugh that are going to enter the transfer portal. So I'm going to monitor this situation very, very closely to see what happens over the next couple of weeks in regards to players coming in and out of that program and how they handle, the Joe Milton situation. I'm very curious to see what happens with that.
Okay. Wolf 58 says blue blood. I don't think Michigan qualifies for blue blood status anymore. Let's talk about okay, so here's some smack talk. Let's talk about Ohio QBs flopping in the NFL.
I mean, do you want to talk about it? We can.
If you want to indulge that one, Alex, it's up to you.
Sure.
Otherwise, I'll go on to the next
problem. So we win national championships. Our quarterbacks don't do great in the NFL. Newsflash, most Power 5 quarterbacks don't do great in the NFL. I don't know if you're aware of that or not. So it's a weak argument to me. It's a weak, you might want to come a little harder than that. I do believe that, Joe Burrow is going to be very successful. He came through the Ohio State program and, went down to LSU, played very well, but he's an Ohio State kid. I think Justin Fields is going to do very well. We'll see if Mr. Haskins can get his act together because I believe he has all the tools. I mean, that guy can really, really throw the football. He's, very smart, just really, really immature. But, if you want to have that conversation, we could also have the conversation of Michigan's quarterbacks that have played in the NFL as of late, or are there any? Are there any?
Depends on what happened to Shea.
Shea's not on a team.
Okay, well, there you go.
Okay, so we at least have some in the NFL. You guys don't even get an opportunity to flop.
Dre says, "Okay, now you're a numbers guy."
Always a numbers guy.
Okay, I guess that was towards you. Laughing my ass off. OSU was way better than U of M, and that falls on Jimmy.
I don't necessarily think so. You can't. The program that he took over, I think it falls on Lloyd Carr's exit. That's what I think. I think that's when it started. The exit of Lloyd Carr was not very good. And then you bring on Rich Rod, which I feel like is Michigan's greatest mistake in this whole conversation. If you could have been able
Alex,
help that guy get defense, they would be right where Ohio State is right now. I 1,000% believe that. So,
but wait, I thought you were a Rich Rod guy. I thought you thought that was a good hire.
I do think it was a good hire. I feel like Rich Rod didn't necessarily have the support of the faculty, and I think that he needed, his issue was defense. That was his issue. He could score. Like, they could score. Denard Robinson and Tate Forcier, I still remember those names because I remember how good they were. Those dudes scared me. And, Ohio State was in a transition period as well. And I think Michigan was also. I don't think they were ready for what Rich Rod was trying to do on the field. I mean, he was bringing basketball on grass before Urban Meyer was. So, I think that's where it fell off the rails for Michigan. The Lloyd Carr situation, Rich Rod, then you go from Rich Rod to Brady Hoke, and I can't, as much as I hate Michigan, I'm fair in pretty much everything when it comes to that program, and I can't put, Michigan going 1-17 over the last 18 years on Jim Harbaugh, who's only been there for 6. I can't do that.
Okay, let's Toast Media says facts. He don't know how to groom nor coach them up their potential.
Yeah.
Malachi says, true, Lewis. I've been pro Harbaugh since the start of Harbaugh criticism, but this year was way too bad. And also the game is getting bigger. He hasn't helped at all. Okay, more trash talk. Let's Toast Media. Let's talk about Michigan Big Ten titles in the last 20 years. Oh, wait, never mind. Okay, so now they're trash talking amongst each other. John Stoops says it's going to be a long 5 years. Damn.
John, you need to get your cousin, Bob. Get your cousin, Bob, and convince him to come over and coach. So,
well, if your prediction is right, Alex, then he won't be here another 5 years.
No, not at all. I think we're talking year to year, and I really think it's going to be who's available. Because I mean, with the pandemic, I mean, there weren't a lot of there weren't a lot of openings. You know what I mean? There weren't a lot, and there weren't a lot of good candidates out there either. That I feel like were qualified to take that Michigan job. There just weren't. I mean, Sarkisian was probably the only one and he went to Texas. So, which is completely understandable because Texas is its own country with its own players. And if he can get 40% of the top tier talent in Texas, they are going to be they're going to be a power really quick, fast, and in a hurry because they're already halfway there. But they're just the positions weren't there. The candidates weren't there this year. You got to look at everything. And I just for Michigan, I just didn't see it. So I feel like this is I think it's the smartest thing they can do, but I also think it's kind of the only thing that they could have done. Because if you fire him and you don't know who you're bringing in as your next coach, and then you go get somebody who you really don't want, what does that look like? And then you also have to, it being so late in the recruiting cycle, you want to preserve the recruits that you have, because I think they have like a top 12 or 10 recruiting class this year. So you want to preserve those guys also. And, it's better if you keep those guys and then you try to sell them if you let go of Harbaugh next year to try to sell them, stay into the program. It's just easier to do it that way versus doing it now, not knowing who your coach is going to be, and then you possibly losing those guys also. I mean, because we've already got kids that were considering Michigan. They didn't know what was going on with the Harbaugh situation, and they chose other schools. Okay.
If you guys are new coming in, please like the stream and also please subscribe to the channel. Jordan Gauthier, I think I said that right. To be honest, this contract could be a blessing for Michigan. Manuel might be a genius.
I'm telling you.
He says, I hate the negativity of Michigan fans. It's time to give the guy another chance. John says, can we get a roll tied up in here? Honestly, John, I don't have any Crimson Tide pictures handy, but I will give you a Paul Feinbaum in their place. So hopefully that'll keep you satisfied for the time being. And this is one of Jim's harshest critics, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, I'll give you a roll tide. Just wait until about 11 o'clock tonight when we beat the brakes off of them.
Okay. You're going to get my channel taken down. I'm not going to read these 4-letter words.
That's okay.
I'm joking. YouTube's probably not paying attention to my small channel. Ohio would never vote for U of M in the playoffs, so why would Michigan fans? Okay.
I don't necessarily agree with that. Well, yeah, I do. I do agree with that. We never would. I had to think about it for a second. I mean, I don't think it's necessarily rooting for Michigan. I think Ohio State fans, we root for the Big Ten as a whole. Like I know I root for Wisconsin, I root for Minnesota and Maryland and, Rutgers when I'm half asleep and not paying attention to what's going on. Nebraska, Indiana, I root for those programs. Michigan probably not, but the rest of the Big Ten absolutely.
Okay, Let's Toast Media says this is sad. We in a rebuilding stage in year 5 of the Jim Harbaugh era, and the Bleep Eyes playing for a chip tonight in Ryan Day's second year. Okay, some of you guys
listen,
comments.
That thing was humming when Ryan Day took over. Now Ryan Day has completely changed the program. I will say that it's a very different program from when Urban Meyer was there. It's very different. The culture, he's been able to come in and stamp his culture in. And I think that started with the TCU game a couple years ago when they played, you could call it a neutral field, but I think it was in Texas. So, but I think
Jerry World.
Yeah, I think that was the beginning of the transition to Ryan Day, where I saw in that game where I was like, wait a minute, why is this guy our coach? Now, I remember in the TCU game, I was like, Ohio State's playing this game plan is very, very different from anything that I've seen, even from Urban Meyer team. Why isn't this guy the coach? Or like, is he a coach in waiting? And it just so happened things happen when they happen, etc. And he ends up being the coach. But Ohio State was having top 5 recruiting classes. We had already won a national championship. That program was humming, and all you had to do was it's like a 2-year-old Porsche, and all you're doing is handing the keys over to somebody else, and they already know how to take care of it. It's gonna run. It's a Porsche. It's gonna run. It's gonna run for another 10, 20 years. No problem, as long as you do the maintenance on it. So Michigan's in a very different position than Ohio State is. So everything, it's numbers, and you also have to look at the context of it. I think that, year 5 of a rebuild, sometimes you got to play the hand that's dealt, right? You got Jim Harbaugh. This is the hand that you got. So you got to figure out a way to play through it.
Mm-hmm. Jordan says Jim Harbaugh will make himself look a lot better after these next few years, and then he's going to dip because all the haters.
I do believe that. I think that's a strong possibility. I think if he has 2 winning seasons, he's out of there.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's gone. I think he wants to get back to the NFL. I don't think it's going to happen because I think they're going to crap on the pot, but so to speak. But I think out of this whole situation, I think we learned a couple things. I think we learned that Jim Harbaugh's not a good fit at Michigan. And this is nothing against him not wanting to win. I believe 100,000% he's extremely competitive. He wants to win. I don't think it's a good fit. And I think he wants to get back to the NFL. I think those are the things that we learned about this Jim Harbaugh situation. I think the NFL is a better fit for him. I don't think college is a good fit long term. If he's coming in there like, I don't know, USC, and USC's got a bunch of great players, that could possibly go to the NFL draft, and he comes in there and, sweeps them, wins the Pac-10, maybe gets a berth in the national championship, and then bounces. He's a I'm getting in there, I'm turning it around really fast kind of coach. He's a sprinter. He's not a marathon runner.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely a sprinter.
Okay. If anyone wants to throw anything in the tip jar, that's right there. Malachi says, you think so, Jordan? Let's Toast Media says, at Jordan, we lose to MSU, Penn State, and give up 50 to Ohio State next year. He's done. Jordan, I think he will too, LOL. John Stu says, all due respect, it's been 6 freaking years, LOL.
5.
5. Jordan says, yes, sir. A coach doesn't go to the Super Bowl and all of a sudden forgets how to coach, LOL. Lincoln Riley. I'm
Thank you,
against
Lincoln Riley from Oklahoma. Yeah.
Okay. Let's Toast Media says, why don't we pay Urban Meyer about $9 million a year and get this going?
Now you're dreaming.
All Hail Michigan says, I don't buy that Jim Harbaugh isn't a college coach. He can recruit, motivate, and he just knows football. The problem right now is he entered a beaten down culture that's been ran into the ground of late.
I don't know about that, man. I'm not. I just, not to say that he can't coach in college. Let's clarify. I'm saying that I think he's a better fit for the NFL. That's what I mean by that. I think he's just a better fit. Yeah, he can recruit, but it's almost like, what's the point of having a talent if you can't develop it?
Okay.
And then we're recruiting. You bring in all these guys and you don't develop them.
Jordan says he can have that success here, but Michigan fans are too hard to please. He's a great recruiter. I do believe we need to see that hunger again.
They have a top 12 recruiting class. What do you mean you need to see the hunger? If you can't, I don't know what you want. Maybe you're too hard to please. I know I could think of 50 programs that would love a top 12 recruiting class right now. And you guys have one, and you're still not satisfied with the recruiting class. I don't understand. If Ohio State had a top 10 recruiting class, I'd be happy with that. It just so happens they have the second.
All Hail says we desperately need that turnaround season like 2016, but finish stronger. Sure, Michigan has great brand recognition, but brands don't win championships. I don't think McCaffrey has left yet. Just throwing that out there. Interesting. Just ask Dallas Cowboys about that. I think that's in terms of brand. Let's see. That'd be dope if McCaffrey came back all of a sudden. That'd be a hell of a quarterback competition. Our brand is not there. We are a mid-tier school when it comes to football. We are the Virginia Tech of the Big Ten. McCaffrey is still hasn't left. I hope he stays.
Oh yeah, I thought he was definitely gone.
Okay. I thought so too.
Yeah, I thought he was definitely.
Our brand will always. Yeah, that would be like a wild card, an unknown. I mean, yeah, no one would see that coming.
Yeah.
Maybe Joe Milton knows he needs more time and isn't truly ready. If he transfers, he gets exposed even more.
Well, I would think if he transfers, he's going to go to a lower tier school, so that might not necessarily be true. I don't think he's a Power 5 quarterback. He might be Group of 5, but not Power 5.
I don't know if Joe Milton get a QB coach and we add passing game coordinator. Joe could improve. The players in the 2020-21 class are happy that Jim is staying. If I was Detroit Lions, I would take a chance on Haskins at QB.
But hey man, he's super immature.
Yeah. Oh, probably playing in his hometown probably didn't help.
Oh, it made things. I'm 100%. So I think it made things far worse for him. I think he needs to go to San Francisco or something like that, somewhere far away from home. I think he needs a mentor, I think he needs a life coach, because he does not make good decisions at all. To be a professional, to be a first-round professional football player, he makes he's up there with Johnny Manziel. Outside of Johnny Manziel doing drugs in the bathroom in Vegas, he's up there with making bad decisions.
Wow, was it that bad?
Yeah. He was rolling. He was snorting coke with $100 bills in Vegas, and they caught it on video.
Wow.
Yeah, Johnny Manziel, man, that guy, all the talent in the world, man, just immature.
Well, with Dwayne, I have to admit I'm here in the DMV, but I guess I wasn't interested in the Washington football team to the point where I was following everything. But what happened to him here?
I mean, he had a private party with some exotic dancers in his home the night before after a game. And he just, just all year, I mean, last year he was taking selfies with fans before the game was over last year. He just, time after time, he's just shown a lot of immaturity, since he's been in Washington. I think it was great for him because he had, it almost was like, the Washington football team was turning into Ohio State East, where you're having the Buckeyes come through there, which is cool. It was cool to watch. And I think with I don't think it was just a good fit for him in general. The previous coaching staff didn't even want him there. The owner wanted him, and he really didn't have the support. And then I saw that also last year, when he was starting, they weren't even prepping him with the first team. I mean, it was all types of crazy stuff. And then this year, they do an analysis when a new coaching staff comes in. They felt they would go with the veteran. Alex Smith is, a great story. So, props to him. Hope he gets healthy, and I'm glad he's actually able to come back and play. But, in regards to Haskins, I just think he was just very, very immature as a professional.
Well, if you have money and celebrity, there's a lot of trouble you can get into here in the DMV.
Oh, trust me,
a lot of trouble.
You be in Georgetown and get yourself caught up real quick.
Georgetown, Prince George's County, the casino.
Definitely PG County.
Definitely PG County.
Yeah.
Joe Milton to Louisville. Tom Brady. That might have been our one great NFL quarterback.
Yeah, I think he got drafted before I was born.
Tom?
Yeah.
That was 1999, 2000. He got drafted.
No, it wasn't that late.
Tom Brady?
2000?
Yeah, because his last year, my first year in grad school was 99, and that was his last year.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
In that draft, Joe Milton.
I was thinking of Brian Greasy.
Brian Greasy. No.
That's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
Now he's a better commentator than he was a quarterback in the NFL.
He's a really good commentator. Yeah.
Joe Milton, unfortunately, isn't the future from what we saw last season. Let's see. Abdul Gaines says Lloyd Carr. See, Abdul Gaines, I got to show the picture for you. Lloyd Carr should have been fired years before his exit. He's just saying that because he knows I think it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't stand Lloyd Carr.
Because we always lost to him.
Well, until Tressel got there. Yeah, we can't blame everything on Harbaugh. The fall was happening well before him.
Agreed.
The Adidas days of UM football, I still have nightmares. We'll do a few more because I know you have to run and I have to run.
Yeah.
Tom Brady, Chaney, Robinson, Jake, Abdul. You never lied. I didn't buy anything Michigan with the team. So the brand your team is wearing, that matters. That matters.
I find it funny, and this is going to be a random fact. The first quarterback that I absolutely hated that played for Michigan was Chad Henne.
You hated him?
I hated
Why?
Chad Henne. I hated Chad Henne. Because he threw the ball so well down the field, and they had such a balanced offense. I hated it, man. I hated him. Like, he could throw the ball 50 yards on a rope. And I was just like, how come our quarterbacks can't do that?
But dude, he went 0 for 4 against you guys.
It doesn't matter. I just saw talent. I hated him, but I just saw the talent, which is why, he had a long career in the NFL.
Yeah. If he had more mobility, he might have been able to squeeze out one of those wins against you guys.
Probably.
Like Drew Henson did, but he didn't have the mobility.
No.
to improvise on the run.
Yeah. But I mean, you have Mike Hart, you have
Mike Hart,
and
Mario Manningham, Adrian Arrington. Yeah, that was a good team.
Yeah, that was a really good team.
But Troy was exceptional.
Troy is Troy.
Ted Ginn and Rubisky and Pittman and Beanie Wells.
Yeah.
Michigan plays for tradition, history, and image at places like OSU. They play for hardware. That's the difference.
You know what? That is a very, very interesting point. I think we should touch on that later, like maybe in our next, our next live. That's a very interesting point. Can you go back to that one?
Sure.
That is probably one of the best points I've seen yet. That they play for tradition, history, and image. And places like Ohio State, they play for hardware. That is a great take, Wolf 58. That's a great take.
Okay. So we'll go for I'll do a few more of these, Alex, and I'll give you a parting shot, and then we'll shut down. Michigan doesn't have the guts to ensure Harbaugh suffers. Everyone suffers the well-deserved indignity of being fired. The brutality, man. People
are evil. We're in a pandemic, and you still want people to lose their jobs.
I'm satisfied with the recruiting class, says Malachi.
Good recruiting class.
Jordan says, talking about his hunger on the field, not talking about the recruiting class. I love the recruiting class.
Okay, I got you, Jordan.
Okay. I think ultimately the defense, Dylan McCaffrey will stay. Okay, that'd be interesting.
That will be interesting. I'm going to be honest, man. One of those guys has got to go. One of them has to go. They all can't stay.
Yeah. And the thing is,
I think it's going to be McCaffrey because what's the guy from Vegas? What's his name again? I just know he's from Vegas and he has like all the
Cade McNamara.
Cade McNamara. McNamara's already played really well.
He has.
Right? He's already been on the field and has produced. And then you have another 5-star coming in behind him. So he might be the odd man out, man. I mean, you can't have – Ohio State's going to run into this just thinking – not to bring them up, but just thinking in regards to QB rooms. They have a very, very – in coming next year, they're going to have C.J. Stroud, Harry Miller, Kyle McCord, and Quentin Ewers all in the same quarterback room. And all those guys are 5-star recruits. So outside of Miller, he was a high 4-star because he was injured majority of last year. But, somebody's going to have to – when you have quarterback rooms like that with that much talent, that's crazy that Michigan has that much talent. I didn't even think about that. That's crazy that they have that much talent. Unfortunately, they won't be developed. But it's crazy that they have that much talent in a QB room, and one of those guys is going to end up leaving, if not two. Man, that's nuts. It did not register that he's still there. I definitely thought he'd gotten to the portal already.
I believe this recruiting class will truly change the future for the better, said Jordan. People have been saying that for years. Malachi says, so what? Malachi says he's rich. Let him have some strippers at his house. That's Dwayne Haskins.
I mean, I get it, but you put yourself and your team at risk when you do that. That's the problem.
Yeah, and if a quarterback,
you violate the team's COVID protocols as well.
Yeah, an NFL quarterback is an investment. You're the face of the franchise.
Yeah, dude, you are the number one pick for the Washington football team. You know what I would be doing? I would be with the guy who develops all the quarterbacks that go into the draft. He worked with Johnny Manziel. He worked with all the top quarterbacks. He worked with Baker Mayfield. All the top quarterbacks that have come out in the past couple of years. He worked with Dwayne Haskins. He's the guy who convinced Justin Fields to go to Ohio State. I can't remember the guy's name, but he's like this guru quarterback guy. If I was Dwayne Haskins, I'd be with like our QB coach, our offensive coordinator, and that dude, and I wouldn't have done nothing else. because the little money you got right now for you being a first round pick, when you get that second contract, that's when you get paid. That's when you can act a fool. You can't act a fool 1 year after you got a little bit of money. The second contract, you're always trying to get to the second contract in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And I blame his agent.
Okay. All Hail Michigan says, like our OSU dude says, you can have all the talent in the world, but you got to develop them correctly.
Yeah.
Laugh my ass off. The young man is just trying to live his best life.
I mean, I get it, but like now you're at home. Like you're at home now. Like your team just, they just played in the playoff game and you were at home. They sent you home. Like blown opportunity, man. That's just, what did Robert De Niro say in what was that movie where he said the worst thing in the world is wasted talent?
Is that Casino?
No, that was Robert De Niro. And what was the movie with him and Chaz? A Bronx Tale.
Bronx Tale.
Yeah.
Okay. Dre says 2000. That's probably the year Brady was drafted.
Okay.
And have dual gains. Oh, jeez. Okay, that's it. This is getting ridiculous.
It gets under your skin.
He's gonna make me show the Lloyd Carr pick again because I know how much he loves Lloyd Carr. I honestly believe Lloyd Carr should have been fired the season after the national championship season. Come on, Abdul Gaines. How realistic is it for you to fire a coach after he won or tied for the national championship?
He's out of control.
Get real, man.
He's out of control right now.
Okay. All right. Salute to you all. Go Blue. Salute to Juwan Howard and Naz. She's balling. Men and women's basketball. Yeah. All right, folks. Yeah. This goes on. I'll do some basketball as well. I'm going to read this comment, Alex, and I'll let you for the finale. Salute to Big Discussions. Hit the like. Yeah, everyone, please hit the like. Please share. Please subscribe. Bless up. Good stuff. Alex, you want to give us a little prediction on tonight, or what do you think?
I think this football season has been about Ohio, meaning the Browns, the Buckeyes, even the Bearcats, even though they lost to Georgia on that last-minute field goal. It's been a great year for the state of Ohio in regards to football. And I have two bold predictions.
Okay.
I think Ohio State is going to win tonight 38-35.
Okay.
And, I think Justin Fields is going to throw for 3 touchdowns and rush for 1.
Okay.
I think that, and this is obviously if Jalen Waddle doesn't play. If Jalen Waddle plays, we're having another conversation. Because if Jalen Waddle plays, I don't know if Ohio State, I don't know if they have enough. Because that guy is just incredible. But I think they have shored up their secondary issues. They're going to have to jam, the Heisman Trophy winner. They're going to have to jam him at the line of scrimmage, shadow him over the top. We're going to stop the run. That's what we do. We're not going to allow you to run on us. And I think we have the linebackers and the secondary and hopefully a very good game plan to make Mac Jones make incredible throws. I haven't seen that he's had to do that as of yet. I've watched a lot of tape in the past couple of days on Mac Jones, and he's a very, very. He reminds me a lot of Tom Brady, where he makes subtle moves in the pocket to give him some time to throw, and he's always had a clean pocket too. Like when he gets pressured, he moves a little bit, and then he gets the ball off. And typically, there's always separation with those receivers that they have in Alabama. I mean, it's Alabama. So you're going to have that. It's going to be easier to throw the football, but what do you do? Like in Trevor Lawrence's case, where you've had a clean pocket all season, and all of a sudden you don't. And those throws that you thought would be on time when we're jamming the receivers at the line of scrimmage, let's just see. Let's see what happens.
Okay, this is a funny one. Stop it. Ohio State catching the L. You know it, and I know it. Not coming out your mouth, losing credibility. Go ahead.
They said the same thing in 14, man, or 15, and we came away with the dub. So I think we have the more talented quarterback. I think as a collective we have the better receivers. I think we have the better defense. I think we have the better offensive defensive line. I mean, outside of Dylan Moses, that freak of a running back that I'm not even going to say his name, that freak of a running back, because he deserves that much respect. He is a freak of a running back. And that wide receiver, outside of like those couple guys, I mean, I think Ohio State, for the first time, they have been healthy all season, and we saw what they're capable of doing. So, I mean, it's gonna take the same effort as the Clemson game, if not more, to beat Alabama. I think they're capable of doing it. I think they will do it. I think it's gonna be the story of the season, where our fabulous Big Ten commissioner decided to cancel the season. We had protest in Columbus. We had protest in Chicago. Justin Fields was on Good Morning America saying he wanted to play football. They reinstated the season. And now Ohio State's playing for the national championship, and hopefully tonight we'll win a national championship. You can't, regardless of what Ryan Day said, you can't write a story better than that. And Justin Fields probably had the best game in a Sugar Bowl than any quarterback's ever had. So he's playing well. I think he's going to be ready to go. And now I'm going to get really crazy. The Browns are going to beat the Chiefs next week.
Oh boy. All right.
And I know that's not happening, but I'm just gonna put it out there.
Yeah, I
I
might do a live stream prior to next week's NFL games, because the Buffalo Bills have advanced as well. So you guys might see me on here. Whoever comes through sees me in red, white, and blue. But all right, I think we'll.
And he's Michael Vick 2.0. So. And you guys are susceptible to quarterback runs, so we'll see. And, they get 200, 300 yards every game. So if you guys can stop the run, you can stop him. But anyway, I digress. Go ahead. Sorry.
All right. Well, that's it. Yeah, I need to run. I think you need to run.
Yeah.
So that's the Harbaugh thing. That's where we are now. So, I'll create more content as this off season goes on, and I'll try to do some Michigan basketball stuff, and I might do a pregame live stream for the Bills and the Ravens. So
yeah, we need to talk about Juwan. Juwan's doing a really, really good job.
Yeah.
Up there. So we definitely need to shout out Juwan. Him and the best goatee ever made.
All right, everyone. Enjoy tonight's national championship game. Let's see what happens. If I had some money to bet that I was willing to bet, I do like my uncle Bodine, and I bet the over, because judging by how Justin was throwing the ball in that last game, you guys have put up a lot of points. So we'll stop there. Everyone, please, thank you for coming through. Please like, share, and subscribe, especially if you're watching on the playback. And I'll talk to you next time. We'll talk to you next time. And go Blue. You want to say your go thing? I'm not going to say it. No, he's not going to say it. All right. So, all right, everyone. Well, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Take care, and I'll talk to you the next time. Bye-bye.
Have a good one.
All right.